Fighting time. All night long.
Hello, party people. Hello, Switch people. Hello, Switch 2 people. It's your boy Dre, and it is time, Steve, for the Switch 2 Extravaganza.
It is great to be a Switch 2 person, Andre.
How do you feel, Kevin, being a Switch 2 person now?
Man, I'm fully in. I love it. This is my new life.
Man, when we started this show at the beginning of 2022, the first week of January 2022, we have just not lived through any launch of any system, let alone a Nintendo system. Lived as if we were born 3 years ago. That's when we were formed, everybody.
That's when Fine Time formed as an entity.
Yes. And here we are. Nintendo Switch 2 is here. We've been anticipating this like mad. We're just going to go through everything we can. We're going to give our hardware impressions. We're going to talk about Mario Kart World probably a lot. We're going to talk about Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics, because that definitely rolls off the tongue, and any other odds and ends that we want to talk about, whether it's hardware performance upgrades of old Switch games or whatever, other stuff we played on Switch 2. So we're going to talk about it all in this one episode. Maybe this is a good place to start because this is about me literally taking it out of the box. I took it out of the box and then I proceeded to immediately put the Joy-Cons on backwards. I put them in the wrong slots and upside down. Like, why did they let you do that? Shouldn't they have made that like ergonomically impossible? This reminds me of PS5 launch where everybody put the disc in upside down. But like, it seems like I'm the only one who did this. Steve, can you make me feel better about this?
Well, Andre, later on when we all booted up the welcome tour, they revealed that was actually on purpose. So it would break less.
Well, okay, but like Kevin, it just made me feel like a dumbass.
Man, I don't know.
Like,
I'm just you've been
get-go.
playing Switch since 2017. You should know, like, you should be able to like look at that thing from a distance and know which is the top and which is the bottom. I'm sorry.
I didn't really, because now there's a USB-C port on the top and bottom, so it fooled
but there's like the fans look different, and there's power and volume buttons on the top, and the game card. This is not comparable to the PS5 discs going in upside down.
I mean,
wait, Andre, maybe Andre's Switch didn't say Nintendo Switch 2 on the back. Maybe that's where it got confusing.
Well, I guess I could have looked at like the kickstand on the back, I guess, but like I don't know, man. It just wasn't readily apparent. I get it; they're color coded. There's a blue and red,
the giant kickstand, and not that little baby whatever that was on the Switch 1.
Thank you, God. That kickstand is a dream, guys. I don't know how much
fucking good.
It's so good. I don't know how much you've gotten to use it. People have told me like the Switch 2 OLED, Switch OLED. Kevin, you have an OLED, right? Isn't that kickstand better or?
Oh, way better. Yeah. I mean, the kickstand on the OLED, I would say, is as good as the one on the Switch 2. It's a different style, but it's the same where you can kind of do it at any angle, and it's very, solid.
Okay, good. Yeah, you guys have any hardware impressions out the box? You want to talk about the Joy-Con 2? Market improvement,
I want to talk
maybe,
about that box itself, because that box is fucking small when you first get it.
It is.
Like I had a short moment when I first seen it. I was like, fuck. Like, what if they fucked up and the Switch isn't in here because this just seems too little.
That's so weird and paranoid.
I wasn't as paranoid, but I was picking this up at a Best Buy store where doing rough math and, how many boxes are here times however many against the blah, blah, blah. I'd say this Best Buy got about 200 or more of these things. I'm like, this is a tiny ass box for this thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I got a Pro Controller with it, and it was not that much smaller than the box the Switch 2 came in. Like, just damn, guys.
It's small. It's very small. Even though it's a bigger system than Switch, I feel like, I don't have my Switch box anymore. I feel like that came in a bigger box, though.
It
had to have.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, Steve, you mentioned, so you pick yours up from Best Buy in-store pickup. I had Walmart delivery. Those motherfuckers delivered my system at 6:47 a.m.
Damn.
And I woke up because I heard the knock. And you guys know me, I sleep late. I usually sleep like 4:30 a.m. So I didn't get much sleep, and I got that thing, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm awake now. And I began my day with Switch 2. And yes, everybody, I got 2 things of Pringles. I got a regular Pringles original and hot ones, like the show Hot Ones Pringles. So I'm scared to try the hot ones, and the 2 things of Coke I gave to my dad's girlfriend because I don't drink Coke. I'm a Pepsi man. So, but yeah, so if you saw that shit online where people got snacks from Walmart with their Switch 2, it is real. I got the snacks.
Not a thing from Canada Walmart, though. The one we got from Walmart, no snacks. Just a fucking box with Switch in it. That's it.
Just healthcare.
Just healthcare in a bag. Yeah. Though I don't think, I mean, guys, I don't think I've ever had regular Pringles, like original. I always get like a flavor of Pringle. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had them.
Man, the original ones, I do like the pizza ones. I think the original ones might be the best.
Steve, have you ever had original Pringles? Like,
I have. They're not awful. I won't throw them away, but first off, I'm not even usually reaching for Pringles, but if I am, it's not going to be the original Pringles.
Oh, man, you guys, what the fuck?
I usually go sour cream and onion or like salt and vinegar or something. Like
even basic bitch barbecue, not original.
Yeah, barbecue ain't bad. And I've had those pizza ones, Kevin. Those are good. I usually like those.
Those are sweet.
I've always been kind of scarred by pizza flavored snacks because back in the day they had Ninja Turtles like pizza wheel things, and they were so fucking terrible. They were they just tasted like dumping oregano in your mouth, like straight up. It was so bad. I kind of tried to power through some of them, and they were just the worst. So like I don't know. Ever since then, it just pizza flavored snacks. But yeah, the pizza Pringles are good. Let's talk Joy-Con 2. Because, as you guys know, I love to play in kickstand mode or tabletop mode, as the original Switch presentation said. Yeah, which Kevin still insists is not a mode, but you know, hey. And obviously, the kickstand is way better. But obviously, when I'm playing that way, I'm holding the 2 Joy-Con, and I also play that way in bed sometimes. I just like to, not always use the Pro Controller, just like hold the 2 smaller things. And now that these are just like a touch bigger, it's kind of perfect. In your hand, they feel almost the same, but just if you were to pick up the original Joy-Con, it'd be like, oh shit, these are actually better. Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic. It just feels so much premium and plush. I keep hitting game chat by accident now, though, instead of home. Have you guys been doing that, or is it just me?
I've been doing that on the Pro Controller and the GameCube controller because I don't know where everything is on the specialty buttons yet, but I honestly think the Joy-Con controllers are way ahead of what the regular Joy-Cons are. I'm like, I can't even look back at this thing anymore. I'm like, just knock it over on, except for just one tiny little thing. Just the tiniest little thing. I'm even using some tabletop mode myself. I never did this with the original Switch at all. And that is, Nintendo, I need you to make me a Joy-Con L with a D-pad on it. Please.
I don't think they can do that because of the way you can use the Joy-Con is with buttons, right? They need to be buttons, not a...
I know, but Hori made a pretend Joy-Con with a D-pad on it, and it was fine. Like, it blended in, sorta, if you didn't look at it too closely, and it was fine. But I like the way these snap on with the magnets. It's like, ooh, the magnets. I know. Sometimes I'll just attach it and then put it back on for fun. I'm like, ooh, it's nice.
It is great. Like, the magnets are great, Kevin.
You know what? And they're not. It's not just the novelty, and there is novelty. The first few times you do it, it feels cool. It's legitimately fucking much more handy than sliding up and down the rails. Our dock, where it sits on our the entertainment center under the TV, is almost at floor level. It's on like the bottom shelf, and so to get down there, if you want to grab the Joy-Cons, using those buttons and popping off the magnets is significantly less fucky than like pushing the little buttons and sliding up on the rails in the little shelf. I'm like all about those magnets.
Yeah, I like them too. Oh, this is kind of random. I don't know when I'm going to mention this, but like I maybe this is a setting in options and I just haven't found it, but like on Switch, when it was docked, you could still use the 2 Joy-Con on the side to like control the menu or whatever. You can't really do that on Switch 2. I wonder if it's like disabled or again, if I can like turn it on.
I did not think to test using the buttons while it was in the dock.
Either.
Okay, yeah. So maybe this is, again, I'm sure this is like a very specific thing only to me who does this. I'm not saying I do it all the time, but like...
the secret 4th mode.
docked Joy-Con mode, yeah. The hidden 4th mode.
You just buckle yourself into your desk chair like... I'm in.
That's the most asinine way. Like, I can't imagine actually playing. Okay, maybe if your 2 Joy-Con were completely out of batteries and you had to have them attached and you don't have a charging grip, like maybe so you could like play docked with the dock on your lap, like it's like on the TV.
But I feel like an enthusiast like ourselves could pair a Pro Controller 1 in like 2 seconds and
maybe
let the game keep going.
Possibly. I just, again, it's not a huge deal, but I was like, oh, that doesn't work anymore. Weird. Okay. Yeah, I like, how do I say it? I wrote down the word squishy about the Joy-Con 2 analog sticks, but I don't mean squishy. That makes it sound like it's bad or it feels mushy or something. It doesn't feel that way, but it definitely doesn't feel as hard clackety clack, right?
I think
smooth.
Feels smooth.
Yes, maybe that's it. So you guys agree then?
It just feels cleaner almost. Not that that's the way to explain it either, but it's like I said, it feels nice.
Well, and part of that itself might be the like bigger size. I just feel like overall they're just roomier. I've got more like real estate for my thumbs to move those analog sticks around.
Me too.
And you couldn't do that if the Switch 2 was smaller, Kevin.
We'll get there. We'll
get there. We will get there. Because I can't wait to get there. Do you want to talk Pro Controller 2? Kevin, you didn't get one, right? Only me and Steve?
I did. No, I did get mine.
You did? Oh, yeah, that's
yesterday.
right. You picked it up. Yeah. That's right. So we can all talk about this.
Very nice.
That same softer, gentler feel I was talking about with the sticks, that definitely carries over to Pro Controller 2 because it just feels, like I said, less clackety-clack and less hard plastic and more, I guess soft plastic is a stupid thing to say, but it definitely feels more plush. Right, Steve? Like...
I think it's how you asserted back during the Switch 2 Direct. It's premium electronics.
Sure is.
It's a boutique controller. Ooh, look at the buttons. Push them in. Wow.
What is this? Pro Controller 2 ASMR or something? Like, what are we?
I mean, it can be if we let it. Let's chat with the Pro 2 controller now. Wow. Give us your phone number now.
Only $3.99 per minute.
I don't know what it is. Is it like a texture thing? Because when you guys were talking it up, I sat and felt, and I really like the original Switch Pro controller. And you guys were talking about how much more like plush and smooth it feels. And then when I first got it, like one of the first things I did, I was like, okay, this is still like hard plastic. There's not like a fucking mushy like membrane on the outside of it or anything. But you're right, it definitely just feels. It's still like it's just hard flat plastic, but it feels soft in the hand somehow.
Maybe it's just it feels a lot more. It doesn't even feel textured. It just feels like it just like here's the thing. The way I describe it, it feels like you could kill somebody with the original Pro controller. Like if you throw that at somebody, you're going to do some damage. It doesn't feel that way with the Pro controller too. It definitely. I don't know, definitely softer. I know that, again, that sounds dumb to say about plastic, but it's true. I also like the white. It just looks attractive. I like the white highlights on top for the triggers and stuff. And like, it just looks better. I love the raised plus and minus. That's good.
Yes.
That's very good.
What about the GLGR buttons? Those I was like very pleasantly surprised with those because you can very easily tell where they are, but they don't like stick out. I don't think you're really ever going to accidentally be hitting those, but they're very like easily accessible with your middle fingers.
You'd have to be like Steve, you'd have to be some sort of death grip kind of player to like accidentally press those, I feel.
I haven't accidentally pressed those yet. I also haven't really tested those yet. There's something I'd like to try in the future, but I didn't quite get to do that yet. But I haven't accidentally pressed them yet.
I thought it was funny that they make you update the controller to use the headphone jack. Which is
That was weird.
That was weird, and this is a big deal for me, which is kind of the reason why I got it, because that's how I use DualSense all the time. I plug my headphones into the controller. I use my wireless PS5 headset. I'm almost always using that. So having a headphone jack on the controller is kind of key. Yeah, I used to set my dock on something kind of closer to me and then plug my headphones in there, but now that's way more convenient to not have to do that. It also makes me think that maybe the Pro Controller 2 didn't originally have that. Like, maybe when they made the controller, maybe it was like a late addition in hardware. Maybe not.
I know the GameCube controller doesn't support it at all. It doesn't have a jack, and I even tried cheating with the dongle. I'm like, maybe if I shove it in this USB adapter, it'll work in through the USB-C port. No, it don't. So,
you guys got anything else on just straight up hardware feel, like actual?
I got a few things.
Okay.
The thing I immediately noticed as soon as I turned it on, it plays like a little chime tune, and immediately I was like, "Oh, these speakers are much better." I think they sound significantly clearer and more. They showed on the direct. That like it's got like kind of a surround sound effect. I feel like you can really experience that. And as we learned later on Welcome Tour, they're the same speakers as the OLED, but they've used a larger and better enclosure around the speakers themselves, and I feel like that went a long way.
There is no doubt in my mind now that Switch OLED was supposed to be Switch Pro, but it just has the same guts. There's no doubt, Steve.
I think that's been a poorly kept secret for years. I mean, have you seen some of the Switch games that have come out in the past few years?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway.
What about the screen? And I feel a little down on the screen. I do think maybe that's the one I was a little bit spoiled with the OLED, and I'm not actively like, oh, the screen doesn't look good when I play. But it is making me appreciate what the OLED had, and I think more so than when I was playing the OLED. I knew I liked it, but now going away from that, it's like I don't know. It's crisp and clear, but I don't feel like that screen is as. If there's one hardware thing I wish that was slightly improved, it is that screen was a little bit better.
It's not, yeah. So I have a Steam Deck, obviously. It's not as good as that. It's a tiny bit bigger than a Steam Deck screen, which I do appreciate. However, it's fine. It's exactly what I fell in line with my expectations, I guess, which is why it's like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected to look like, Steve.
I don't know. For me, because I don't have a Steam Deck and my handheld gaming thing has just been the Switch one and whatever I can get away with on my phone and tablet. A 1080p screen is like, oh, wow, this is great.
Yeah, 1080p. That's also what makes it better than Steam Deck. My Steam Deck OLED is 800p. So that's a marked improvement, especially, I don't know, like, yeah, it's not as important at that size of screen, but it does matter. I have noticed. As discussed, I do like to play in kickstand mode, but I did hold the machine and play it that way just because I'm trying to try everything. And yeah, the bigger size in this instance, not that I'm going to go full Kevin here, but like, it does feel a little awkward sometimes, but I also felt that way about the original Switch, which is why I definitely prefer kickstand mode. I definitely prefer Steam Deck's more like ergonomic, like I'm gripping onto this thing, which is easier for them to do because it's one solid piece. You can't remove and attach controllers. I get it. But at the same time, it does make me feel like, yeah, I'd rather hold the Steam Deck than hold the Switch 2 at the same time. If I were in a car or something, I had to hold the Switch 2 for a while, I'd have no problem doing that.
Maybe I need to like get to be more of the kickstand mode kind of guy, because I always, if I'm not playing on the TV, I'm always just doing handheld mode. So I guess I'm going to have to defend myself at some point here. I'm going to walk back what I said a little bit. I'm not going to say the Switch 2 is too big. And I think there's some trade-offs here. I really do like the larger Joy-Cons, and the larger screen is very much appreciated. That's a noticeable improvement. I do notice holding it in my arms, it feels a little bit too wide and cumbersome, like Andre said. Yeah, with the trade-off, I think it is a good trade-off. It's worth having it be less ergonomically comfortable for me to hold, but that is a factor. I'm less likely to want to sit like just on the couch or like laying on my back in bed and hold that thing up for as long of period of time.
Yeah. How do you feel about it, Steve, and handheld?
Well, with me and my giant hands that are big enough to crush a cantaloupe, probably.
I'm a man. I'm Steve. I'm a real man.
I welcome my slightly larger Switch and its bigger Joy-Cons. And since when it is undocked, it is handheld mode most times. Like I said, slightly more tabletop nowadays. We'll get into that later. But yeah, I like my handheld mode. I'm not seeing too much of a drawback. I mean, Switch was getting kind of cramped after a while, but Switch 2 is like, again, this is nice. It's only been about a week. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't have any problem. I don't think it feels like shit to hold it and play that way, but it's definitely like over a long Mario Kart session or something, probably not the best long term. But like, yeah, if I'm like out somewhere, I'm just playing a couple Arcade Archives games for a quick second or two, yeah, it's perfectly fine. But after a couple hours, maybe not. Battery life does not seem great so far. So like a lot of people asked at the time when Switch came out why that screen was only 720p. And I think the answer is that would have been murder on any battery capacity we had at the time. Like 720p was the correct move. Our batteries have gotten better, but have they gotten 1080p on the go better? Maybe not. Like it's not horrendous. Mario Kart isn't going to kill your battery in an hour, but it might kill it in 2. So yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem particularly great so far. What is your guys' experience? Again, it's only been a week, so we haven't really put it through its paces. But Kevin, have you noticed that the battery kind of goes down fast?
It does go down fast. I personally, I'm not as concerned about it because 95% of the time when I play the Switch 2, it's going to be at home, and if I'm playing it on the couch or playing it in bed, I've always got a charger like right there if I am playing it in handheld mode. I also I have like a 20,000 milliamp hour like portable battery that I usually take with me if I'm going to do, even if we're going to go like sit in the emergency room at the hospital. That's obviously not super ideal, super convenient. But I think it's not a deal breaker for me.
Okay. Small story time. My first day of the Switch was spent mostly playing the Welcome Tour and trying to load on new games and old games, which the latter of which it just decided to do on its own. I didn't know it was going to do that from my account. So color me surprised when after Mario Kart and Street Fighter 6 and whatever else, it was like, oh, here's every single game you still have loaded onto your account. Also, it's only been about 45 minutes. You only have 15% battery left. Oh, are we doing this all the time? I thankfully learned no. It was just a tremendous strain that first time. After that, I found that generally speaking, it hasn't been that awful. But then again, this past year and a half with Switch 1, the battery life, if I've been doing something overly more complicated portably than a retro game, it hasn't been super great battery life. So again, shiny new object syndrome. Oh man, this is good. We're lasting longer than the Switch 1 was a short while ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, anything's better than my original Switch at this point, which I can't even play like 20 minutes of Etrian Odyssey of. So like that thing is toast.
So did you guys wind up opting to use that like charge to around 90% option to avoid that then, or?
I did not.
I didn't either. I'm thinking about it, but I probably won't since I do a lot of portable time.
What I probably will do is probably actually power the system completely off more often. Is what I will do than keeping it in standby and because like sometimes that'll happen, right? Especially in these last couple of years when there's been Switch games, but not as many as before, right? So there could be like 3-4 months where I am just straight up not using the Switch. and it's just been sitting there in standby and dock. I think that probably drains the battery more than like if I just power it off. So maybe if I'm not currently playing anything, I'll just remember to do that. I think that'll be a good battery saver.
I don't know what that's like.
Play other systems. It's okay, Steve. I promise. You can.
Can I though?
You can. I promise. I give you permission.
I mean, maybe.
Don't be scared.
I don't know. I don't really want to play anything else either right now. I'm pretty
well, right now I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty hot on Switch too. But I don't know. In a couple weeks here, I could start Metaphor on PS5, and then it's like, well, Switch 2, nice to know you, but I'm giving you back to Walmart.
Oh.
One thing that has bothered me on the software side is that the video capture is still 30 frames a second. That is unacceptable. I cannot believe that shit. What are they doing? That sucks. I know you guys don't give a shit. You're just staring at me right now. But I'm sorry. That's terrible. Like, come on, man.
I'd like to believe that's an oversight, but I think a good small chunk of that has to deal with them not really doing a whole lot with social right now.
I mean, they updated the entire app to like... So it automatically uploads your pictures, or at least that's what I set it to.
Oh, I love that so much, because their solution that they were doing was not working with my phone for a while, so I had to download a whole separate app that did it for me. Rest in peace, Switch transfer tool for Android. I don't have to deal with that shit anymore.
I used to use a dummy Twitter account for it, but now you can't even do that anymore. So. I don't know, man. I think it sucks. Well, okay, you say that about the bandwidth or whatever. PlayStation's is 60. Fucking sweet Steam Deck is 60, and that they just added that like not too long ago into Steam Deck.
They should at
OS.
least give you the option.
Yeah, like come on, man. It sucks.
I bet you that'll be updated.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can upload. It basically works just like PlayStation now. The pics and videos just upload, and that's great. Maximum volume, I think this is the only hardware thing I have left. Maximum volume doesn't appear to be that loud. Like when you crank Steam Deck, that bitch is loud. Max volume on Switch 2 isn't quite, I mean, it's not quiet, that's for sure. But it's not like, I don't know, I kind of expected something more bombastic.
I noticed that more with headphones. I'm fairly new to headphones myself. I don't have the fancy ones you do. I have knockoff E1s that Amazon sells, but it's for games. Okay, it's fine. I paid $50 for these.
Okay.
But they have a nice sound on my DualSense, and that gets pretty loud and sounds pretty nice. It sounds pretty okay on Switch 2 as well, but it is softer. And even if I go to settings and I say, let's make it a little louder, I can't really tell the difference.
Yeah, so far. So maybe down the line here, they can like boost that with like firmware updates or something. Because I feel like it could be a touch louder, whether out loud or with headphones.
Before we get to Welcome Draw, I got a few more just like UI things. I was curious, you guys both got your consoles before I did. How was your server experience, like downloading updates and downloading Mario Kart?
Mine was fine. I got, like I said, at 6:47 a.m. I think all the midnight hysteria had died down, but Steve was the midnight hysteria, so...
Mm-hmm.
I might as well have gotten it when Andre did, because I made it home around after 12:30 or so. I'm setting it up after putting my screen protector on, and it just wasn't finding the internet. Like, it logged in and it's like, oh, we can't find the server. Oh, that's good news. That's great. It's like, get news, guys. We found the server around 2 a.m. Let's move your shit over now. 1%, 2%. Hey, you know what we could do? We could plug this in and go to sleep. And then
and you woke up to 74%.
No, I woke up and it was finally done. Let's restart the system. But holy shit!
Yeah, it wasn't like smooth sailing after Andre got his, because I got mine around 9:30 Mountain Time, and it was a fucking disaster. No, and I'm not criticizing, because I get they're slammed at this time.
Yeah.
But even to download the update to like get in, like move along with the setup, Like it needed to try it like 4 or 5 times until it did it successfully. And then to get to use my code for Mario Kart, I bet you I was 10 times typing that fucking code out in the eShop to get to the point where it would actually like get far enough along to start the download. It was excruciating.
Yeah, I must have caught just the right window because, like you said, morning people like you, like picking it up, you probably caught another wave of crap because mine was totally fine. I put in my Mario Kart code and I got it right away or whatever. It didn't download the fastest, but it definitely worked the first time and it did get it in, relatively good order. Kevin, did you get a PS4 at launch or?
No. Like a PS4 was maybe 2 or 3 months after launch.
Okay, because like the first month, PSN was fucked. You couldn't fucking do it. Was so
I remember
messed
that
up.
being a news story. Yeah.
Oh, it was destroyed. I like that day. It took me like 12 hours to even get Resogun, man. It was it was crazy. Yeah, you couldn't do anything. And after a while, Sony just locked the whole thing down. It's like, hey, you know what? PSN is very, very limited these next 3 weeks. Sorry.
And they wound up like giving everybody a free month of PSN because of that, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
I feel like once I got into the store, it was fine. And I had a whole fuck ton of codes because Best Buy, I ended up joining their premium thing because they got a whole Nintendo thing. If you bought anything besides the consoles, they're just going to keep giving you $10 codes for however much money. I'm like, fine, I'll buy all these download codes from a store for more money in exchange. Sure, why not? So I'm entering in codes for Street Fighter 6 and Welcome Tour, and I'm like fine.
You had a Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour code. Download code. That's fucking amazing. You might be the only person.
I wish I had a card for it, but I bought them online. I got one for Kirby 2 in 2 months.
Well, while we're on that shop, one last thing. Like, how about how fucking snappy and well that shop loads now? I literally started wondering, I bet you I will spend more money on that shop just because I'm not getting frustrated and saying I'm sick of like waiting for this fucking slow ass mud shop to load. It just feels good to scroll through there. They're gonna make more money off that just from impromptu purchases. But I believe so as well. So nice.
I think you were correct. Yeah, I didn't realize how slow Switch had gotten by the end, Steve.
It felt so good to just go in and buy all those things and also not too impulsively because I was pretty sure I was going to just buy Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4 and the rest whenever they come out. But we'll load that in for future playing too.
Yeah. Or you're in the page and you want to see a video. The video like actually plays when you go to the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went on there and pre-ordered Donkey Kong Bonanza, just lickety split. Yeah, just whereas like that would be a process on Switch by the end there. So I feel that's why I keep saying by the end. I feel like Switch wasn't always that way. I just feel like over time it just kept getting more overloaded and overloaded. Maybe with like, I don't know, maybe more people using it and Nintendo not maintaining it the same way or something. But it just got so slow. It got Wii U slow. It was ridiculous.
Well, in the beginning there were only 20 games. Then they just kept piling more games on top of it and like, nah, no one's going to actually use this for anything.
Well, guess what? Okay, let's talk about that Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour real quick. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about it because it's kind of a known entity. It's a tech demo game. I hesitate to call it a game. Even though Steve reviewed it in his thread and gave it a D on Blue Sky, I don't feel like that's fair. It's not a video game.
I paid money for it. I'm counting it as a game I beat.
I don't think this is a game, Kevin.
Man, I don't. Yeah, I think this is a reviewable experience. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe a game. Probably pushing it.
Yeah, it's not a game to me. I guess we could just talk about some stuff we liked. I guess of course, I really love the guess the frame rate mini game. I mean, I have never been more prepared for anything in my entire life than this mini game.
That's what I saw when I ran across. I'm like, oh, this is Andre the video game right here.
and all you motherfuckers out there who claim I don't see frame rate or frame rate doesn't matter, I bet they're acing this game right now, you sons of bitches.
So you can like definitely when I watch the 60 versus 120, you can see the difference. I'm not disputing that at all. However, when you get into doing the test, the only thing I was like consecutively having a hard time on is when they just show you one of them in isolation, figuring out if that was 60 or 120.
It's tough.
I had a hard time with that too. Once
you get above 60, it's not really about the fluidity on screen. I mean, it still is. It's more about response time in your hands. That's how I always describe it. That's why it's so imperative. Well, maybe not imperative, but like that's why it's so crucial that these like online games like Overwatch 2 or Marvel Rivals, that's why they're always pushing 120 nowadays, because that feels so good in the hands. It's unbelievable. That's why a Splatoon 4 should 100% be 120. It's gotta be. You know, so like that now I'm glad you guys can see it. I hope you can feel it too once these games come around that use it. But yeah, that was fun.
One thing with the frame rate that I took away too that I thought was really interesting, seeing 40, I feel like 40 is so much closer to 60 than it is 30. The improvement between 30 to 40 is almost bigger than 40 to 60. I would say.
Yes, I think I agree with you. And that's why those games like those 40 FPS modes and like a Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart or like a Horizon Forbidden West, I think it's a 40 mode, or like Plague's Tale Requiem or whatever, like any of these games that have like or Forspoken, God forbid.
Well, even Cyberpunk on the performance on Switch runs at 40.
Does it run at 40? Yeah. So like I think that's why people are pushing for that, because it's obviously it's like perfectly divisible by you're running it in 120 hertz mode and you put it down to 40. So it's like a perfect kind of like gradient down and it just looks good. You can get obviously a lot of fidelity out of that at a smoother frame rate than going all the way up to 60 where you start having to cut stuff. So that's why those games have those modes. I hope 40 FPS becomes more of a thing going forward. I'm not saying I want every game to run that way, but it's definitely a good option for fidelity.
Huge improvement over 30.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can make games do like 4K 40 these days, you know, like have that sort of compromise, I don't think I would be too upset with that. I guess this kind of ties back into hardware because obviously it's welcome tour. It's what they're showing off. It's very clear that the HD Rumble is so improved in the Joy-Con 2. I was like, okay, how much better can this get? Because obviously when the Joy-Cons came out, it's like, oh shit, this is like the real deal. They weren't kidding. And then of course when like DualSense and stuff comes out, it's like, oh man, we're really stepping this shit up. Joy-Con 2 is on par with those, man. Like it feels great. Any of the mini games that make you do it, like the maracas or figuring out how many balls are in the thing. I mean, you felt some of that stuff in 1-2 Switch, but now, Kevin, it's like way better.
The playing sounds with the Rumble was insane to me. Like that you can play there's no speakers in there, but you can play distinct, like they play like the Mario like coin sound in there, right? It can play actual sounds just with the vibration in that. And I think that in itself says a lot.
Switch, the original Switch could do that too, but it was extremely limited. It wasn't like it is now. It couldn't make a Mario coin sound. That's for sure.
No, it couldn't. And I think that's the kind of thing I don't know. I don't think that's very practical for games. I'd love to see it happen in a game, but
the only game I had that did it on the original Switch was Kirby Star Allies. It played like greens out of the Joy-Con at some point.
Did it?
Yeah. That's like the only game I remember that did it.
I played a lot of Star Allies. I don't remember that anymore. Oh, well.
Anyway.
I want to know why Steve gave this a D, because while I maintain this should have been a pack-in 100%. I do think this is worth the price of admission for a handful of reasons. I was surprised that Steve was that hard on it.
Okay, because we already learned everything about the Switch by watching the Switch Direct, and I feel like that's fine. And actually playing the thing is what Kevin likes to call the peas and carrots thing, and this was peas and carrots, the video game.
It's not a game.
Okay. Peas and carrots, the software experience. if we're going to be so pedantic about it.
It's not
I got a lot of people sitting behind counters asking me if I'm really sure if I want to take this quiz, as if they know that maybe, just maybe, this isn't the most exciting way to break in my new video game system. Please don't make me answer those questions honestly when you know that I've got Mario Kart loading.
The quizzes do feel it feels a little like derogatory,
patronizing. It's very patronizing.
And that's definitely not my favorite part. Outside of doing the test, though, Steve, you're saying, well, we already found out everything we needed to know about the Switch on the Direct. I feel like there are so many like legitimately interesting nuggets of information and insight that I actually didn't think we would get here. I thought, I had a good idea of what this was going to be, but I feel like they were almost a little bit more like frank and transparent with some of the like really like stuff that most people aren't going to care enough to want to know. But there were some like really interesting little nuggets and details here that we definitely didn't get in the Direct. Now, I don't feel like I need to be tested on that to demonstrate that I did understand what they were saying, but I'm glad that it was there. I thought that stuff was super interesting.
I agree.
I'll admit that learning about the mouse was interesting, but there had to be a better way to package this than we're going on a tour. Step lightly onto the next part of the tour. Oh, you didn't find all the shit right. Please go find all the shit before we go on to the next part of the tour.
It's not structured the best.
Do you go to a museum and they say, oh, you didn't find all the exhibits. Please go find all the exhibits before you go to the next room of the museum?
I went to the museum last week. If they had done that shit to me, I would have been like, what the fuck?
I think, you know what would have improved the thing even... You know what would have made this a D+ instead of a D? If I didn't have to if all the places to get stamps were visible. If I didn't have to trudge everywhere to make stamp things pop up, that would have made it substantially better. But instead, I'm running around all over the place, hoping that this time maybe a stamp is going to drop up because, okay, fine, places of components I understand, but after a while, we're really stretching what a component is. Headphone jack, fine. Nintendo Switch 2 logo, really? Really?
Look,
what are we doing?
Look, I don't disagree with you. I really don't. But it just, you know what? I just thought of it. And this might be kind of silly. Did you want like Wii Party? Where you just do like, no, you didn't want that? Then what did you want?
I don't know. If we were going to go on a tour of the system, like have the museum be haunted or something, like, and then we learn about the system that way.
But if it were like Wii Party, right, then you could just play the mini games. Oh, here's the thing. Here's the mouse game. And here's like the thing. I guess that implies that you play with other people and it's not something they really wanted to do, I guess. But like, you know what I mean? Just kind of present it as like, here's a funny mini game package. Plus you learn about the system.
Not haunted enough.
Not haunted enough.
I don't know. It didn't need... It's like the most sterile museum experience in the. I don't know.
I'm going to push back on that.
You have to get some value. So when they do things like the zoom in and show, the connector inside the side of the console and how they like let it have a little bit of play when the Joy-Con goes on, stuff like that. Like that's what I really like. They kind of show a side profile and how much wiggle room it has. Like I'm surprised you weren't like, okay, this is where the real value is. And even like presentation wise, I do feel, sure it wasn't haunted, but you run across the screen of the Switch and it's very slippery. And then once in a while you'll like lose your traction and go sliding on your bum, like stuff like that. I thought that,
I did that.
Like carried the charm.
I think so too. And that's what I'm going to push back on with Steve. I think that like sterile, clean, crisp presentation is like, I love when Nintendo does that. That goes back to Wii when they started doing that type of shit. And that's kind of what it harkens to when they do that like very clean, very clinical, in a good way, in my opinion, kind of presentation. And Welcome Tour is definitely that. So I did enjoy it on that level.
Yeah, but do you think you would have enjoyed the Wii Welcome Tour if they made you pay $10 for it in 2006?
Absolutely. Because that thing was a fucking sensation. And that kind of shit was a lot more novel 20 years ago than it is now. So the answer is yes. Absolutely. I know you think I'm full of shit, but I swear to
think
God,
I think you're full of shit with 20 years of experience behind you.
I'm telling you, and here's the thing: I'm gonna recommend Welcome Tour for $10 as well. It's $10. You get a bunch of fun little tech demos. Right? Oh God, wasn't that fun? Super Mario Brothers 4K, right? To show off how many pixels are on a screen. That was fun. Like, come on, man. Like, I think that's like valuable stuff. I think that's like worth paying $10 for. There's a bunch of little doodads like that are, oh, that's neat.
But they make you work a little too hard for those doodads. And by work a little too hard, I mean crawl across the entire giant system to find stamp pads.
I agree. I don't disagree with you.
They should give you an option where you can just say, I don't want to do the tour. I just want to unlock all the shit, go into a menu and be able to do it. I'll give you that. But I think there's a good chunk of amount of like mini games and demos in there, right? You know, the like sliding around and feeling where the vibration is the strongest and like trying to like move the mouse without hitting the walls and stuff. Or even where you've got to put your fingers on the screen and play Twister or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't really seen done before in a mini game. That I thought was interesting.
The finger twister minigame, very discriminatory against me and my big hands. Just saying.
You act like you have the like fucking Paul Bunyan like sausage fingers or something.
I wish I was able to save that my recording of me trying to play that game.
I would definitely get like a phone stand and film that from above, like you're doing like a teardown on YouTube or something, and definitely film yourself doing that.
That would require me booting up Welcome Tour again, and unless it gets an update that makes it fun, that's
listen to this guy. He won't even entertain us, Kevin. He won't even entertain us with his fucking fingers.
This is a time of joy and happiness, Steve. Not the Switch 2 launch and the Welcome Tour shouldn't be full of saltiness.
Yeah,
that's why I played Welcome Tour first, because I knew the second I got a whiff of playing any other game, there was no way I was going to play Welcome Tour.
So you went into it with a bad attitude.
Yep, he sure did.
I'm the further, and that's the other thing. I'm going along the alphabet: room A, room B, room C, and like somewhere around room E or F. I'm like, you know what? Maybe the Switch 2 is kind of mid. Maybe I need to return this thing.
Wow.
Eventually, then I'm like, no, that's stupid. No, that's stupid. I'm sure once I play real video games, it'll be much better.
It's not a video game.
Tell me you're not hamming it up for the podcast to a degree. I don't think you personally feel this strongly about Welcome Tour.
I personally believe that no one should buy Welcome Tour.
I disagree. Me and Kevin disagree. You should absolutely spend your $10 on Welcome Tour. If you know this is for you or not, right? We talked about it. It's a tech demo game. It's not a real video game. You can do neat things with the Joy-Con and the screen, and it tells you about the system. If that sounds interesting to you, $10 is kind of a steal. So that's how I feel about it.
And really, for general audience wise, this probably isn't for 80% of people. This is for people who are like, really like Nintendo aficionados that like have an emotional investment with Nintendo. I think that's who this is.
I agree, 100%. I can't believe we're so lockstep on this. And Steve is, he doesn't like anything.
Unbelievable.
All right, fine. Okay.
I think you're unbelievable.
Let's take a break. Okay. We'll talk about Mario Kart World in a second, but let's just take a break. Let's cool off. Let's play a little Welcome Tour. We'll be right back.
Fine time. Broadcasting worldwide.
All right, we're back. We yelled at each other some more about Welcome Tour. I didn't want you guys to hear it because we said words that might get us canceled. So, I'm going to
Then we had a shower and we're fucking back to our jolly selves.
Yeah. What do you say, Steve? You want to talk about Mario Kart World, a real video game?
You know damn well I want to talk about Mario Kart World, a real video game.
All right, let's start. I guess we can just start with global thoughts, overall thoughts, and I think I'll just say this because this was my initial experience. I did not get it at first. I really didn't understand Mario Kart World. I played the first couple of cups and I came away mad confused. I was like, I don't understand what they're trying to do here. Why am I doing a course and then I'm driving to the next course but we're not really doing that course fully per se. It's just kind of a, here's the next stop and then we drive somewhere else. I don't get this at all. Why are you playing the Mario 3 athletic theme while I'm driving to the next course? That's not a Mario Kart song, idiots. And I'm just like, what is even happening? And then I played a couple more cups and then it clicked. I completely got it. It's a Mario road trip. Duh, Andre, you dumbass, you piece of shit. So yeah, it took a while for it to sink in, but I understand Mario Kart World now, and it is great. It is fantastic. That's how I feel. What do you think, Steve?
Andre, I don't know how you didn't pick up on the road trip. Didn't you hear the harmonica when you booted up the freaking game?
Oh, there's harmonica in like every other song. So yeah, I mean, of course.
I don't know. I wasn't as well. I was a little confused just because I was just finishing up my welcome tour. I was a little sore from getting fucked in the ass. So I'm like,
I don't think that's a mini game in Welcome Tour. I think you just did that yourself.
Potato. And, and I'm like, I wasn't as critical at first of this game. I'm like, you know what? I'm driving around the cow on the Grand Prix. That's her name. It's Cow.
Cow.
She's Cow. I'm having a great time in the car. She's mooing and waving. We're having a great time on the cups, whatever this is. And that's really what it needs. It's a road trip. But I'm driving around as the cow, and I'm having a great time.
Okay. Kevin, initial thoughts, global thoughts, Mario Kart World.
Yeah, I had a kind of a weird progression with this because, to be honest, I think what I was looking forward to experiencing the most was just the free roam mode. And I knew they didn't promise us Mario Kart Forza Horizon. But I think that's deep down, that's kind of what I was hoping this was going to be in the free roam mode. And that, I was going to want to spend a whole ton of time in that free roam mode. And it turns out that's not what it is. I'm not shitting on the free roam mode, but this is not Mario Kart Horizon. And that's totally fine. I think it's going to take a while to land definitively and make up my mind, but I think this might be the best Mario Kart to date. Wow. It looks great. I really like the structure of going between different races. I really, really like the 24 character races. The racing feels incredibly solid. And I think that's the big, this feels good to play. They've kind of, we'll get into the weeds a little bit more about the, grinding and wall riding and whatnot. And that's there, and they kind of jazz it up a little bit, but this is still very core Mario Kart. This is very good racing, fun Mario Kart. So despite not, and you know what, I think there is room. I think this game is going to get a lot of support for a while, and I'm not discounting that. I think they are going to add more stuff to the open world to do where it feels a little bit more fleshed out.
Okay, I think the world is what it is on purpose, but we'll get to that later. Where should we start getting in the weeds here? Okay, how about this? Let's start here. I'll start with my own personal vendetta, because what else is a podcast for, right? For years and years, even going back to our previous creative endeavor, my hot take on this show was that I did not like the crossovers in Mario Kart 8 and Deluxe. Didn't like the Zelda stuff. Didn't like the F-Zero. Animal Crossing. Nope. Get out of here. Squid Kids, goodbye. Don't need
What
ya.
about Mercedes cars?
No. This is not Nintendo Kart. This is Mario Kart. And I want Mario, goddammit. That was always my thing. The Mario universe is so vast and wide and so full of stuff to do with it, you don't need to add this other crap. I want maximum Mario. And guess what? Mario Kart World is maximum Mario, at Mario to the absolute limit. Can you guys please admit I'm correct about this now? Now that we played Mario Kart World.
I think you are correct.
Okay.
And the like crossover stuff in 8 didn't like really actively bother me, but I agree. I think Mario Kart is better when it is like, this is Mario, you know, and there's just a lot of like room to play in the Mario sandbox without stepping outside of it.
Steve.
Again, I was not bothered by any of the crossovers either, but now that we are maximally Mario and really owning it, it's fantastic.
Playing off of that, I would really like to talk about motif and theming, I think, because like going along with that road trip thing, like, I guess since Mario Kart 64, right? They've always had like road signs and race signs that look like famous ads. Everyone remembers like the mobile sign that says like Yoshi or whatever, or just like the Marble Row, but it says, I don't even know what, Nintendo. I think they took those out.
The Burning DK.
Right, Burning TK. Everyone remembers that shit. Now you get that shit times 1,000 in Mario Kart World, because every single view is filled with billboards and street signs and bumper stickers and trucks, and like everything is an opportunity for like art and like Mushroom Kingdom themed art, and that shit's incredible. And it's like, and of course it's reimagined as, I mean, let's face it, this is an American road trip. This is definitely based off America. This feels like, you know, your typical, that's why harmonicas are in every other song, Steve. Like, I mean, this is driving across America for sure.
I mean, you're not wrong. Also, we have I feel like there's a lot of rest stops with snacks on it. I think that's trademark America too.
Yeah, a lot of drive-thrus where you get food and then maybe turn into a costume. That shit's so weird. Why do you get a costume from picking up food? I don't mind it. It's bizarre now that I say it out loud.
Hey, don't look at me. I was late to that party. Lousy. They didn't give the cow any costumes.
I got the naan and curry or whatever from the Shy Guy Bazaar, and it turned Wario into Oasis Wario. He has like a turban and everything, and like a gold outfit. It's incredible. One of the best outfits in the game that I've seen so far.
I got Oasis Waluigi yesterday, and it was not as incredible as Oasis Wario. That was something you shared with us before.
I just love the sights of this game. Like the stuff you can see out on the open road. Like, I remember there's a part you're driving down to the beach from Peach Stadium, you know, and you see like the items floating by and the bubbles, like in Super Mario World, you know, sometimes they have bubbles with like stuff in it. Here's a coin. Here's a mushroom. Those are just floating around out there. It's like, what the hell is this? That's crazy. And then like there was a part where you're driving through this sort of green meadow, and it's like there's charging chucks and they're kicking footballs into the road, and they're like charging across the road, and they're doing little jump clap thing. I don't know why they do that across the road. And it's beautiful, man. The Mushroom
Kingdom is
beautiful.
warm up for the big game this Saturday at Wario Stadium.
I never did understand that animation of theirs, but I'm glad they've carried it forward.
Tangentially related to all this, I think I really appreciate too, more so than 8. There's I struggle to describe exactly what I'm talking about. There's kind of like more bounce to this. The animations are a little bit more like wacky. And, you know, your cart can kind of like, if you go off a jump and then you land, it seems like it can kind of like stretch and contort in this cartoony way. And the whole world has a little bit more of that just over exaggerated, like cartoony bounciness to it. And I think that adds a lot to the motif in itself.
Absolutely. Digital Foundry actually talked about exactly that. They were talking about how when you take a turn and like, one of your back wheels might raise up a little bit, like, whoa, I'm falling over. You're not really falling over, but it adds so much to like that. Okay. I didn't really have any particular note about 24 players on the track, but like, it's just chaos. It's fucking chaos in the best way possible. I love it. It's ridiculous. I love that I can be in first and be in 17th, like that. It's so crazy.
Well, I was talking to you guys about this the other day where I was just having a hard time winning cups at first because I'd be doing okay and then I'd be getting my ass kicked. But then it was happening the other way too, where I was just climbing ahead pretty fast the other way. I'm like, oh, this is just good. This is just cartoony, arcadey, racy, fun shit happening here.
People who get mad at Mario Kart are about to get so mad at this game. They're going to be madder as hell. They're going to be mad as hell at this one. Like it's going to be Armageddon for them.
Yeah, they kind of make a point to show through the gameplay, like, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, because how can you? It's Mario Kart. If there's one criticism I might have to this whole approach of theirs, motif and theming, and I don't even know if this is fair to say, but this road trip motif means that they can't get too wacky with locations. They all have to be grounded in the world except for Rainbow Road because nothing can keep that bitch down. But like that means you can't really have like an Electrodome or a Waluigi pinball, right? Or a Daisy Cruiser because there's not really room for that on like a continuous map. You guys know what I mean? Is that even fair? Is that even fair criticism, Steve? Or I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, but we alluded to this the other day where we were talking about Mario Kart DLC on Sonic Crosswords because, of course, we were. Anything to stop talking about Sonic Crosswords. Where, oh man, it's Donkey Kong Bonanza Island. What's going on over here? There's a cruise ship over here now, and a whole casino in the tree trunks, and oh man, a whole lot more coming this whatever. I think in the future these they could figure out some other Mario Kart worlds to put together if they want to.
Yeah, you're right, but Kevin, I think this doesn't even leave room for like a Super Bell subway or something, because then you have to make like an underground part, which they probably didn't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think you can do stuff like that.
So I think like maybe just kind of conflicting with what you're saying is like DK Spaceport. Like that's a fucking pretty like wild and wacky course. And even Bowser's Castle in this, like it's fucking like there's a lot going on there. And maybe thematically to a degree, those, you know, like the Electrodome and Waluigi pinball, like that might be a little bit hard. But even again, back to DK Spaceport, like that's got a very fucking like out there crazy amount of shit going on. So I think it could be done.
You're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. It doesn't. It doesn't always have to be dirt roads and like strict racetracks, right? We do get wacky with it in this game. There is what's that ice level where you're taking that big slope up on the, I forget what that's called right now, but like there's like a ice level like that.
Maybe we should talk about our favorite courses now while we're going on. Because
okay.
Go ahead. DK Spaceport, of course. I love Boo Cinema. That one too is incredible.
Boo Cinema, you know, you wrote that down and I peeked at your notes. I saw that and I was like, you know, was that really? Because I remember playing it. And I was like, okay. So I gave it a time trial. Oh, that shit's great. That is really good. So you are correct on that. Most of these are really good. I mean, honestly, is there really bad Mario Kart tracks? I mean,
I feel like at our age, a good Mario Kart course is more vibes than track design, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it can be both, obviously. I hope it's both. Like, Super Circuit is more track design. I would say Double Dash is much more vibes. But, you know, you can kind of mix and match the two.
I mean, speaking of vibes, I liked Wario Stadium when I was playing it on one of the knockout courses. They're like slowly building up to it. Like the music fades, and then all of a sudden the fire shoots out and they start playing the music. It's like, oh, yeah.
It's really great. I really like Mario Circuit in this. And maybe that's a good place to say this. Like, there's classic tracks, but also not really. Because, like, Mario Circuit is the 3 Mario Circuits from SNES kind of jammed into one course. You'll recognize turns and sights from, like, all of them, which is great. That is an excellent way to do that. I love the Great Question Block Ruins. That shit's great.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it. It's maybe not as good as like maybe like Thwomp Ruins from 8, but it's like it's kind of up there. And Kevin, that's why I might like hesitate to say that like this is the best Mario Kart, because man, the original stuff in 8 to me is like the like Sunshine Airport or like Electrodome or like I said, Thwomp Ruins. I don't know, man. Like I still think of 8 as like, oh man.
Yeah, I think I need to spend some more time here and get to where I really know these courses a little bit better. And yeah, when you're talking about the returning courses, Wario Stadium is a good example. When I first played that, I was like, okay, I don't think this is just a new Wario Stadium, just called Wario Stadium, but it's not. But it's hard in a lot of cases to even identify what is returning about those courses, or you'll only see that part for a split second because they've like wildly expanded it.
Yeah, there's no real, obviously, Steve, in the makeup of this game, there's no room to have like, here is Peach Beach from GameCube, but it's here kinda, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most similar course I found where it's like the closest to the original that I liked is Moo Moo Meadows. It's back because of course it is, because of the cows here, and it's very similar to the Wii version, but these are some dirt roads. There's more cows on the road because it's on Switch 2 and not the Wii. And I don't know, it's just great.
It's really good
it.
stuff. Yeah, Moo Moo Meadows has always been like, I've never really liked the N64 one too much. So what is it, Moo Moo Farm?
Yeah,
not really a favorite of mine, but Moo Moo Meadows on Wii for sure. And I this is a great update of that. What can we say about Rainbow Road? What is even? I lost my mind. I absolutely went fucking crazy. That shit was insane.
I only got it today. And firstly, I got to say that cutscene that led to the special cup, like they wanted you to know this is a special cup, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
They had that cutscene where they're just driving around and the cows are like, oh, some shit's going down. Like, special cups open, people. And then you play on Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road's practically cheating. I don't know what they were.
That's
what were they on?
Yeah, that's we can't say. That's basically. It's like an album that has like a classic all-timer, like, you know, what's your favorite song on Led Zeppelin 4 that is not Stairway to Heaven, right? Like, you just have to like delete that from the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite song on ABBA's Arrival that is not Dancing Queen, right? Like, you just sometimes have to just take stuff out of the equation. This Rainbow Road in Mario Kart World is it. Besides Rainbow Road, what is your favorite shit, basically?
It's awesome. Yeah. That was like, everybody should just experience that on their own, because it really is it's kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah, I don't even want to say what's in it, honestly.
And you can't free roam up there, right? As far as I know,
you
like,
you can go up there. Yeah, I haven't
fine.
tried it, but I know, like, I've seen like the thing, like the beam of light or whatever. Like, you can.
Can you do it before you unlock it, or
no? You have to like do the special.
You have to play
unlock
the other
special
tracks.
cup. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I went to the tree thing before that, and it wasn't there. Okay, let's talk about free roam more in detail, because this is kind of a mode that I'm sure, well, obviously is the newest thing to like a Mario Kart game. And I don't know, Kevin, you seem to be the most down on I mean, like, do you have any other, what did you want, I guess? Again, you weren't expecting like Forza Horizon, but what did you want?
I kind of wanted them to get like partially there, and I wasn't expecting that. I think I was aware before I played this, like, temper your expectations, because that's not going to be what this is, and I think it's fine for what it is. I am not going to spend the bulk of my time playing Mario Kart World in free roam, though. It's fun to go in, dick around, find some of the P switches. I think that it really needs a few. Like, I wish that it would show you where you have found P switches on the map. I really, really fucking wish that it would give you like a north indicator on the mini map in the corner of the screen on free roam, because it's it's really hard to like keep track of where you're headed to.
Can I give you my theory on why they didn't do that? Because I kind of was thinking about this. I think they didn't do that because they don't want people to feel overwhelmed by a map with a bunch of doodads on it. Because you know how many people complain about it's like a Ubisoft game. Here, all these hundreds of things you have to do, even though you don't have to do any of those things, right? But people put it upon themselves to do those things, even though they don't have to. And I feel like Nintendo just wanted this to be vibes. Just drive around, see some stuff, drive around with your friends online, and vibe out. And I think, here's a P-switch. I wonder what that does. I don't think they meant everyone to let's find all 120 P-switches or whatever it is, right? And that's just my guess. I don't really know what their design philosophy was going into it. But if it were me and I were Nintendo, that's how I would do it. And I think they made the right call here because I think this is legitimately for kids. Think about how many kids play Mario Kart and they play Moo Moo Meadows. They just want to drive up to the cows and look at them. Well, now they can do that in a pressure-free environment, you know?
You know what? My daughter, she is not near as into video games as my son. She does Mario Kart with us sometimes. She's not super good at it, to be fair. But when I told her about this, I was like, oh yeah, there's a whole world. You can just drive around and look at stuff and do whatever you want. She was like, that is so fucking cool. She was super into it. And she thinks that's just great. So yeah, there's definitely value in there for a player like that.
Yeah.
Well, I've been finding free roam neat, but not exactly earth shattering, like you said. But I've been enjoying it as someone that plays it, alone most of the time. I'd be disappointed if I only bought it for free roam, but the more I've been playing it, the more I like it. Actually, I've been using it to wind down from actual racing. Man, and I don't want to do a whole cup right now. Maybe I just want to dick off for a few minutes, find a few P-switches, and then I'll log off and go to sleep or something. But like Kevin, I wouldn't have minded, a compass or even how about I could turn on an arrow that shows me where the nearest P-switch is? That might have been helpful. I understand what Andre is saying too, but have a HUD option that says, "Hey, have all this stuff on," or "Have all this stuff off" if you just want to fuck around.
Yeah,
I do feel strongly that because I think they are going to heavily support this game for a while. I do think free roam is going to be a big component of that. I can see them doing where it's all of a sudden we're placing different Mario characters around the world in free roam, and you can drive up to them and they'll be like, "Hey, let's have a one-on-one race. And if you win, I'll give you this fucking new collectible type thing that goes in." Like a unique trophy or whatever. I can see them doing stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that would be a great draw to keep coming back and revisiting that periodically.
Kind of like how they added the balloon stuff, the Luigi balloon stuff to Mario Odyssey or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I just think it's already sort of at odds with itself because when you look at the whole free roam map and you choose a character, it shows you all the silhouettes of outfits you're missing. So it's already oh, what am I doing? What can I get? Geez. So I feel like that's already spurring you on to some sort of action.
Yes, but they also don't necessarily tell you how to get that. I didn't understand that eating the different food from different areas is what gives you the outfits until just now. Basically, today. Oh,
me either, because I was playing as all the weirdos. I was playing as Cow. I was playing as Sidestepper. I was like, give me the weirdos. I can play as Mario when the new Mario game comes out. Send in the weirdos.
No, that you know what? That's good. Okay, because critters are not people, and they do not deserve to be treated as such. Okay,
Mario Kart has a rich tradition of playing as the weirdos ever since the first game.
Only contributing members of society deserve outfits, like Wario. Okay. Actually, okay. So here's the thing. Me and Vin were arguing about this. I want you guys to settle this, okay? Is Chargin' Chuck a critter, or is he just a guy? Because I like Chargin' Chuck. I think Chargin' Chuck is a dude. I don't think he's like a Goomba or a Pokey. I think Chargin' Chuck's a person.
I would have defaulted to critter because, specifically they're all of a sudden you're going to see 3 of them in Mario World, right? I don't.
By your definition, they're a critter because I've killed hundreds of them.
Okay, but there are hundreds of Yoshis, right? And Yoshi isn't a critter. Yoshi's part of the crew.
But they're each distinct separate Yoshis. There's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay, and I get it. There's only one of him, but like, if Donkey Kong wasn't famous, like the original Nintendo character, will we consider him like a dude? I think we would just consider him a fucking critter, right? But he's Donkey Kong, so we've kind of like adopted him as like I feel like that's Charge and Chuck as well.
No,
I'm sorry, but can we just talk about how it's weird that the Yoshi outfits are all just different colors in the costumes too?
I mean, you got to have the different colored Yoshi, so I mean, I feel like that's kind of...
The blue one is basically Boshi, but in a biker jacket. Kevin knows who that is.
Oh, is that from like Mario RPG or something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Charge and Chuck is a guy. I'm making the executive decision.
You can't tell Steve and I that we're like the tiebreakers to decide this, and then sit and argue with us and be like, "No, you're wrong as well."
just because you like him,
yes.
You do not get the executive decision. I think when the question is posed that way, we get the executive decision. Just saying.
Fine. Fine. If Charge and Chuck is a critter, then what is even society?
Wait, does Charge and Chuck have an outfit besides default?
I don't know. I don't think so.
If he has even one, he gets to be a guy.
Okay. I'll look to see if he has any. I don't think he does, because I think he just wears the same shit no matter what he's doing, baseball, football, whatever. So I will check that out. Do you guys want to talk about wall riding and rail grinding real quick? Those are the new mechanics, like racing mechanics in this game. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say about them, except that like I love the layer of strategy that the rail grinding adds, because it's like a really good choice, because it's like, okay, I can try to get ahead of the pack on this rail. I might skip a couple items or whatever, but like maybe I can kind of scoot by. Or if there's like a big hazard, you might see like a bomb in the road. It's like, oh wait, maybe I should go like this or something. Also, it's just fun grinding on the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, that shit's incredible. So it's fun, but doesn't really change the game too much. What I think is even less impactful, though, is the wall riding. It's neat, and I can see its uses for it, but I feel like most courses, Kevin, don't really utilize it. Obviously, it's big in like DK Spaceport, right? But I don't think and the rail grinding, but I don't think most things use it.
Yeah, so the rail grinding, personally, I haven't found much benefit to that. Generally, when I've done it, I feel like I'm getting past. I'm sure there are some like edge cases where you can take shortcuts doing it. I had felt, and I still think the wall riding is even less impactful. And usually not that practical. However, today I did just kind of stumble upon like a fairly significant in race alternate path that you have to like wall ride up a waterfall to get to, and that's pretty cool. So I think just like finding new ways to play this, like probably the longer we're playing this, the more we're going to get out of wall riding. But yeah, I don't think either is like we're really like shaking up how Mario Kart is done, and I'm glad for that. I would have been a little bit bummed if it was like, okay, there's a huge emphasis on wall riding and grinding to be able to like effectively play this game.
Yeah, I don't. Well, here's the thing. I think any mechanic is good as long as it's easy to do. You don't have to do anything to grind. You just jump on the rail and it happens, right? This isn't Tony Hawk, or you got to balance, or you got to do something. No, you're just on it, and that's it. It's like Sonic, right? You just grind. The wall riding is a little trickier. You kind of have to boost at the wall, but again, it's not like super tricky. That is kind of. Oh, I understand what you mean. I would also love to keep Mario Kart simple, but I think something like rail grinding is simple enough, Steve.
Again, I think it's simple enough, but it's a bit more complicated than say 8's 0G, which was mindless nonsense, or oh boy, the wheels are upturned and now we're just gonna sometimes bop into each other and spin, and who would think that's a huge advancement? No one we know, that's for sure. But
you said it before I did.
But to be real, what is it? It's all situational, risk reward, arcade racer stuff, right? I mean, you gotta know how to do it, and if you miss the opportunity, oh man, you can beef it, right? Oh no, we hit the wall. Now you're in 12th place. Oh man, womp womp. It's fun. I like it. I can't wait for the videos.
when we talk about the difficulty, that this is one of the things that, you know, these are like kind of situationally difficult. When I was talking about that shortcut I found with the wall riding, like they definitely set up rocks where it's like ideal to jump off the rocks to be able to come into an easy wall ride. And with the grinding as well, you're right, it just happens. But in free roam at one point, I hit a P switch where you go up and you have to go along like a 4-line power line in the air. Have you guys done that one?
Yeah.
Now that's really fucking hard actually, to be able to like judge your jump to go back and forth. It's not like you just like hold right and hit jump and then you automatically like grind on the next adjacent power line either. So
yeah, that's how
again,
it works
I think
in like Sonic, you know, but it doesn't work that way in this game.
There's definitely some like nuance if you want to like kind of push these things to their limits situationally. It will be interesting to like, you know, revisit this discussion in a few months when we've all had a little bit more time with this, and you know, we might have like completely different takes on kind of wall riding and grinding.
Yeah, it might be a little underexplored right now. Yeah.
I wall ride exclusively. I don't know what you kids
Every course, even whether there's walls or not.
I haven't even raced on the ground since Switch 2 came out.
I did the entirety of Crown City just riding on the buildings like Lucio from Overwatch. Okay, guys, I've been good. Can I talk about the music, please?
I insist.
Can I please? Right. Oh my god.
Let it out.
Okay, you guys, hey, let's go back to 2001. You guys remember a little game called Castlevania Circle of the Moon? Ever play that one? The thing about that game was, outside of like a couple original songs, almost the entire soundtrack was made up of previous Castlevania songs. And it worked because the music team dug deep for that really good shit. They didn't just play the hits of Castlevania. They dug into every game and they're finding stuff. And it's like, oh shit, that level from Super. Oh man, that one from whatever, right? Mario Kart World also takes this approach of drawing almost exclusively from every previous Mario Kart game for its course themes. There are some originals, of course, but for the most part, they're from other games, and they just tune them up with like various American styles of music: jazz, ska, big band, blues, show tunes, hard rock. Even there's like lounge songs. You have it all in Mario Kart World, and it's fantastic. Holy fuck, they knocked it out of the park. I did not think anything could get better than Mario Kart 8. I really didn't. Because that soundtrack is great too, but this is better. This might be one of the best Nintendo soundtracks of all time. I know that sounds like I'm being prisoner of the moment right now. I'm not. This shit's crazy. What do you got? Help me a little bit. Can you please agree or disagree?
It's noticeably very good. There's been times where I've been like in a race and then I'll kind of and it seems like they like kind of chop these up and you'll just hear like short spurts of songs sometimes, or is that just me?
No.
And so all of a sudden I've had where it's like I've heard something, I'm like, fuck, I know that. Where do I know that from? You know, and it's different and they've tuned it up a little bit, but it's not it's not just like the like big time hits either.
Yeah, it's not the big time hits. And also what's not the big time hits is that in between like courses, when you're out there on the open road, they'll just play Mario music. Any old music from any and every Mario game. It's crazy. Just some of the stuff I heard Steam Gardens from Mario Odyssey. I heard the Egyptian like underground theme from Mario Land. I caught that one. I heard Steve, you also heard the credits from Mario World.
Yeah, I was winding down from free roam and it was just on the menu and the cows just driving around and I'm listening and like, is that the fucking ending to Mario World? And I just let that shit play through.
Just the biggest band playing that. Yeah. It sounded like a 90-piece like brass. Oh, so good.
Earlier today, they were playing the theme from Captain Toad for some reason. I'm like, okay, that's
I got that too. I heard Luigi's Mansion yesterday. I was like, what is going on? Like, they just have
There's
everything.
no way there's no way in the menu to go in and like just find like the music that you've discovered, is there?
I don't think there's any sort of sound test. Sakurai would have done that for us, but no.
that would have been pretty cool.
I don't think that's in there. That would be a crazy update to the game if they did that. Oh my god. And again, it's like the best versions of these songs you've like ever heard. All of them are just incredible. I think I'll just leave it there. You got anything else on Mario Kart 8 before we move on to other Switch 2 stuff? I think, okay, for me, Steve, I don't know about what other games he's been in doing these voices, but for me, this is the first time I've heard the new guy do Luigi and Wario. I'll say that much.
Well, I hate to be the voice guy, but Kevin Evgeny was already Luigi in the Wonder game.
Oh, I never played as Luigi, so I never heard it.
And he was also Mario and Luigi in the Mario and Luigi Brothership game.
What about Wario?
And he was already Wario in WarioWare Move It.
Move It. That's right. The second WarioWare game. That's right.
They've been putting him through his paces, but Mario Kart World is definitely where a bazillion people are going to hear the new guy be all the Mario guys.
Guys, did you unlock, I don't know how to say this delicately, did you unlock the motorcycle called Rob Hog?
I just did today.
I've not unlocked Rob Hog.
I cannot believe that's in the game.
Oh, you wanted to play as him since he was a character in Mario Kart DS? Nah. Here's the motorcycle.
I forgot he was in DS. That was a cool little nod at the time. Yeah. I like that about the only other thing I have to say, I like that you hold the weapon behind your cart now by default. You don't have to hold like the trigger anymore. That's
I like
cool.
that too. Yeah.
That's very nice. I think that'll be helpful for the kids too.
Yeah, because that's not always a, dexterity thing that everyone can do. I'm kind of Mario Karted out right now. Well, for now. I mean, until I'm done with this and I edit the show and go play more Mario Kart World. But you guys got anything else before we move on?
That's it for me.
Nah, that's good.
Okay.
Fine time.
Okay, so we've been putting Switch 2 through its paces with its newfound power. We've been trying old Switch games and, of course, Switch 2 editions of games and just seeing how they run. Spoiler alert, they all run magnificently. But let's just talk about some of them, shall we? We all tried Tears of the Kingdom, didn't we?
Yep. I sure did.
What did you guys think? I mean, holy shit, Kevin.
It was almost hard because I had a lot of like, goddamn, I wish this was the experience I had when playing this the first time. Like, and obviously that was not a bad experience, but this is a very noticeable upgrade. I dicked around with the app and the map stuff a little bit. The fucking Hyrule Google Maps lady talking. But the increased horsepower is like really where the money is here. It makes me think like, man, I don't have the time, but I would really like to go back and like replay this version from scratch this way because it feels great.
Me too. Steve?
60 frames per second feels like cheating with this game.
What do you mean? Like
it just doesn't. It almost doesn't feel right, but
it feels forbidden, doesn't it?
It does. I gotta tell you, I mostly logged in to check on the app stuff. It's pretty neat. Like they didn't really tell you that you can send items not only between friends but also between games, like also to Breath of the Wild. So I did some of that. In case you were wondering, Zonai stuff becomes Guardian weapons and vice versa.
Interesting.
So I in that way I did dig around with Breath of the Wild for a little bit too, but more of the same in terms of performance, which means I also wanted to check in on one other thing in particular, which was more of a place, the Korok Forest, which guys, it looks nice, but you can't really look at it too closely or move very much or be in there too much longer than you had to be on Switch because holy shit.
Yep.
But you'd have no idea here on Switch too.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. Runs like a dream.
But after that, I had to stop because it was either that or I'd just be playing that all week.
Well, I mean, I was just turning on random things to see how they ran, and I got caught up in Sheer and the Wanderer 6 for like 2 hours. I'm like, I gotta stop playing this. I cannot do this right now. I have actual Switch 2 things to play. But yeah, as far as Tears of the Kingdom goes, much ado about the frame rate, as we should. What's flying under the radar, though, is the resolution. This game is looking sharp. Holy shit. And that's one thing about the original that was not just the fact that it ran kind of iffy sometimes, it's just that it was pretty low res. And I think I talked about when we quote unquote reviewed that game, Steve, is that like it actually works for the game, and they knew it was going to look this way, so they kind of textured the game and made it look a certain way where it's like, okay, we're going for a low res look intentionally, we're going to, make the textures look as such as well. But now that we're seeing it at high res, it still holds up. All that art still looks good, in my opinion. So it works both ways. And I thought it would like expose it for looking kind of jank, but no, it actually, it's beautiful. Kevin, any other stuff you played on Switch 2? Wanted to do some performance tests?
Yeah, I really wanted to check Link's Awakening as well, because to be honest, on Switch, frame rate wise, that was the one that drove me nuts the most, because it mostly ran at 30, but then you'd fucking transition between screens. And I found those stutters very jarring, where that one really bothered me. As expected, completely rock solid. I started a new file, played the first couple dungeons. I'm probably going to have to go back and play through that game again, because it just feels like so good on here. It's noticeable difference, rock solid.
I also wanted the same about Echoes of Wisdom, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't want to play Echoes of Wisdom again, though.
Yeah, me either.
I don't think I want to play that game ever again.
Nope. Once was good enough for me.
I wanted to try House of the Dead remake as well. I wasn't even positive if this is going to work. I couldn't remember if for some stupid reason they needed the IR sensor for motion aiming on the original. I didn't think so. Luckily, it works flawlessly. It's been a little while since I played that version on original Switch, but I think that even the motion aiming works better on here than I remember. So when you want to recenter, you can just like push your pointer to the edge of the screen and it stops, and that's how you can kind of like adjust where you're centered on the screen. And it's hard to definitively say because without doing it side by side, but I think I was recentering it quite a bit less than I was on Switch. Okay. My son and I sat down, we did a run through this together. It felt really good. Works great with Joy-Con 2s.
I personally have tried 2 different Warriors games, because of course I did. I tried Hyrule Warriors and I tried Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. So when Hyrule Warriors was ported to Switch in 2018, they unlocked the frame rate. I think it was capped at 30 on Wii U. They uncorked it to 60 on Switch, but it didn't very often get there. It kind of ran in the no man's land a lot of times, especially if a lot of stuff was going on, which of course it is because of Warriors. But I am happy to report Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition does indeed run at a locked 60 without a hitch now on Switch 2. Did a couple levels as the most OP motherfucker in the history of man, known as Ganondorf. And that shit was buttery smooth. I don't know how much Hyrule Warriors you guys ever played, but Ganondorf is busted, right? Like,
yup.
Okay, Steve, who's more busted, Ganondorf or Marth in the first Fire Emblem Warriors?
Marth.
Yeah, Marth is the most busted character.
Far and away,
Marth. I don't know why they made him like...
Marth is press B to win.
Yeah, you want to beat a map, you use Marth. Ganondorf can kind of die sometimes. But yeah. So here's the thing about Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. I did not know this game was uncapped until Switch 2 came out. That's how poorly it ran on Switch. I thought it just ran at 30. Because it never got above that on the original Switch. But lo and behold, it actually is targeting 60 frames a second. And obviously, Switch 2 realizes that. I wish the resolution were a tad higher. Obviously, they can't do anything about that unless they actually like patch it. But both Warriors games are running great. For posterity, Steve, I did try Bayonetta 3. And I mean, look, we know frame rate was like 7th on the list of why that game looks like shit. But I did try it, and it does run at 60. And again, that doesn't fix the game any, but I had to try it since that was the most disappointingly shittily running game on Switch to me. And it does run that way. Still looks like crap, but
it runs perfectly.
It runs perfectly. Still looks like crap. But yeah, okay. What did you try, Steve?
Well, I'm just happy you gave me good news about Three Hopes, because I bought that on sale forever ago, and now it's like on the top of the pile. I'm
60 without a hitch, baby. Put that right on top.
Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit because I got Civilization 7. I parlayed an eBay copy for like $30, and I waited because there's an upgrade path for $10. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready.
There you go.
I'm playing a Switch 2 version of this game. And yeah, sure, kids, it was real cute playing the baby games, tech demo games on Welcome Tour. But it's time to play a real video game with mouse controls on this puppy.
Because I'm a man.
Yeah. They got a fairly epic opening cutscene followed by the title screen, and I'm going into the options to discover something fairly terrifying. I can not only choose either Joy-Con 2 to be the mouse, I could assign hotkeys to anything, any commands I want to both controllers.
Wow.
They were not fucking around over at the Sid Meier's Civilization 7 team.
They sure weren't. Jesus Christ.
I mean...
But that's good for you, right? Because you're left-handed.
Yeah. Civilization's not a game I can hope to explain in a minute or two because it's Civilization. I mean, in my current configuration that I have loaded up, I have a uneasy alliance with Harriet Tubman, the Queen of Egypt. I mean...
Yeah, makes sense.
Shrug.
Of course, yes.
That's Civilization.
Harriet Tubman, Egyptian, yes.
Yeah. And... we're just going with it, and but guys, this is the best console way I've ever touched Civilization. I'm cycling through options while pointing and clicking on the map. I mean, if you were ever thinking of getting this version, just get it. I know people were bitching about the Switch version last year. I mean, they were clearly just making that version to make the way for this version. This is just an incredible port of Civilization 7. And because no one should play Welcome Tour, I'm going to give you this tip for free. Use the strap on whatever Joy-Con 2 you're going to use for the mouse.
Yes.
It does make it more easy to use as a mouse.
Absolutely. I tried that during Welcome Tour, and it is absolutely
a world of difference.
Yeah.
And even though you can, I've also discovered that my lap is a terrible mouse pad. I got to get a solution for when I really do want it all, like when I want portable mode and I'm in bed and I want to do it all at the same time or something. But I've had a pretty good time otherwise. Like this is where tabletop mode comes in, where I want to do mouse stuff, and it's been pretty good.
Can't you just lay back and just kind of balance the screen on your gut and then like kind of just mouse the like with your other hand? I mean,
in theory, it's okay, but then the dogs come over and they're like, "What are you doing, Steve?" And it's a delicate balance.
It is a delicate balance.
My daughter has one of those like lap desks that she uses in her bedroom for drawing, and I fucking totally stole that to play Welcome to her on for mouse controls and stuff. And
yep.
that works
you might
want to.
So. I might ask you to send me a link for that later if you bought it online. Because
is it girly? Is it like girly and pink? Is it like
no, it's like a nice dark wood with a like fake leather pad on the bottom. It's very manly.
Okay, I was hoping you were playing Welcome Tour on some Barbie ass like thing.
In which case, I would not have needed you to send me that link. I would have just walked through the wilderness of Amazon tomorrow when I got paid. Another game I tried, which is a Switch game, Pokemon Scarlet, or Pokemon MILF version, as we still sort of call it around here.
We do.
This is not a Switch 2 version, but it did get a huge update to play nice with Switch 2. And they announced on debut weekend, like the day before the Switch 2 came out, that Outbreaks of Porygon 2 would be in the game to celebrate the release of Switch 2. Hey, synergy. Now, for those uninitiated, outbreaks are when clusters of Pokemon that wouldn't usually appear in spots suddenly do appear in large groups on the map. This is perfect to see what this thing is capable of doing. So the first thing I noticed was that it took almost no time to load the game. Like scary. Like usually there's it takes 10 seconds to bring up the start title screen and then load the game. Nah, I'm just blazing right through that. But okay, it's been a bit since I powered on. Let's look at my team. We'll make some adjustments. Just seamless. It's all loading like that. I can't snap my fingers, but let's pretend I'm doing that because that's how fast this is all going.
You can't snap?
No.
Really?
Dysgraphia is not my friend.
Try it in the microphone. Come on, do it for me.
Anyway, I'm opening the map. Yeah, fuck you guys.
Nope. Suck it.
Fine.
I'm opening the map. It's all very impressive. But okay, I saved at one of the Roadstar Pokemon Centers. There's not a whole lot going on here. Let's ask it to actually do something now. So I fast travel to the closest aforementioned outbreak. Maybe 2 seconds to actually do that. I call out the ride Pokemon. He's running and gliding, and it's smooth as hell. And there's wild Pokemon fucking everywhere. They're nearby. Now, before there might have been 5 or so outbreak Pokemon with another few local guys just for flavor or whatever. Now, we're just swarmed with Pokemon. The screen's packed. This is an outbreak. They're swarming you. There's way more over there in the distance. You get into a real fight with a Pokemon instead of automating. Sometimes a few more come by to watch, like they did in Arceus. Hey, what's going on over here? Are you guys having a fight? Oh, wow, it's pretty neat. Which is to say, no, it's not terrific, but this is the best version of Pokemon Scarlet that this could possibly be, and I can't wait for ZA to come out in a few months.
Well, Scarlet and Violet is kind of just like Bayonetta 3, where the frame rate is kind of 10th on the list of the reasons why that game looks like shit. But, it obviously does help. It's not as far gone as Bayonetta 3, and the loading stuff, obviously, in Pokemon means a lot. So,
listening to you guys talk about these other games that I haven't played and how much better they run, I'm just oh, fuck yeah, I'm so down with Switch 2.
Simmer down. I'm pouring a bucket of cold water over you. To be completely honest, I don't have a whole lot to say about Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics. They run well. They load up in a snap. And it's 3 games we know the back of our hands. At least I do. Maybe not the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2, but the other 2, yes. But you guys got any thorough insights on these? I am glad, Steve, that since we do the Nintendo Classics shows together, that they simulated a memory card 1019 for each of these games. And this is in contrast to the Nintendo 64 games where they never simulate the controller pack. So I'm glad that they did that here.
I was so fucking relieved when I booted up Wind Waker and it asked me to make a save file.
Yeah.
I'm oh, thank God.
Yeah, because the stuff you have to do.
I got my wireless GameCube controller that rumbles. We're saving GameCube games. 10 out of 10 app. Just load on some more games.
Even though it's 3 games we played to death already.
Hey, there's some good games on here. I only played through Forsaken Fortress on Wind Waker, and it's like coming home, when you're playing on the GameCube controller. That game's untouchable, even though there's no widescreen. I could have sworn there was, but I might just be conflating it with the Wii U remake.
Yeah, I think you're conflating it. I'm glad Wind Waker is here, but I'm not exactly itching to replay this version just because, obviously, there's a Wii U version out there I've never tried. Also, this just feels like a Nintendo remake candidate. In general, I feel like as soon as I started on Wind Waker again, they're going to remake it, Kevin. I'm scared.
I don't know. I feel like there's been so much begging for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD that I don't think they would have put this on GameCube if that was in the foreseeable future. I don't know. I played through Wind Waker last spring, and I wish I would have just held off knowing this is coming, but it's okay.
Yeah. That's fine. Kevin, did you get the GameCube controller or no?
I did get the GameCube controller.
You did? Okay, so we all have it.
Yeah.
Damn, we are good Nintendo people. Man,
yeah.
we have all the stuff.
I even ordered a second dock for the bedroom yesterday.
Wow.
I know.
I wanted to get a second dock for the desk here, but I'm looking at like $140. I'm thinking, no.
I mean,
no.
Not
right now.
It's kind of worth it though for the convenience over time, especially if you get it now.
Well, I paid almost nothing for the second Switch 1 dock because Toys R Us's were closing and they were on fire sale. So
my dock broke during the Rona. So I had to like order that shit from Nintendo when Nintendo was out of stock of everything because everybody was ordering everything that they can do at home. So it was obnoxious, but I did get one. Okay, so here's the deal about Soul Calibur 2. Everyone remembers the GameCube version with Link. I did not play that. The friend who had it, that I played with, he had PS2, so I played Heihachi. Because I love Tekken, and I thought that was funny. Obviously, Yoshimitsu is obviously a Soul Calibur mainstay at this point, who is also from Tekken. But Heihachi was like another level of stupidity. So, have either of you ever played the Xbox version with Spawn? You ever played that? Yes, I've never done it, Kevin.
I haven't either.
Anyway, so I've never. All this is to say, I've never played as Link in Soul Calibur 2. I've always just heard he's busted as hell. So I played as Link, and yes, he is busted as hell. That man has like 17 different projectiles. What the hell is going on? How did they allow this?
Namco made the game. Ask them.
I mean, that's so unfair. Anyway, Kevin, I know you don't do fighting games, but maybe this one?
Well, you know what? If there's out of any, like, you know, not Smash Brothers, like any fighting game that I ever felt like I actually learned to play, it was Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube. I had that, you know, when I was a kid, and I was halfway decent at it at the time. But I'm sad to say it's not like riding a bike, because I thought I would be able to jump into this, and I got fucked up pretty quickly.
Yeah, fighting game skills atrophy, man. Like back in the day when I used to play Alpha 3 and CVS 2 and stuff, when I try those now on like those collections, oh man, I feel like I'm just starting over. But I was never like a pro, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But that's okay. I'm glad it's here. Yeah.
I actually played Soul Calibur 2 in the arcade complex thing we had out here back in the day, and Blake sold me on getting the console version back in the day, but mission mode was what I sunk a whole fucking lot of time back in the day, and that was, you know, it's a dumbass story mode. You pick a character on a journey for the soul edge, and you do these weird fights with parameters and them to get weapons and costumes for characters. Ooh, special stuff for 2003.
Yeah.
It's neat.
But that's why I like Soul Calibur 3 so much, because the mission mode or whatever it's called in that one is like wild. They go like really weird with it. It's not as good of a fighting game as Soul Calibur 2. I would say Soul Calibur 2 is probably better. However, Soul Calibur 3 has better like content in that regard. Steve, I don't ever want to play F-Zero GX again. I feel like I'm traumatized by this game forever. I played it a lot back in the day, but I just can't bring myself to be like, oh yeah, let me put myself through this again.
Again, I've been trying to spend more of my racing time playing Mario Kart, but I did play through a cup and a small chunk of the story mode again, and I think this game is even better than when I left it. I mean, it's the best F-Zero's ever been, especially the tunes, and the story mode is still brutally hard, but it's so fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
There's that, you better win the next race.
The music, too, is just like Cheese City, like, especially during the cutscenes.
Yeah. I would have loved F-Zero GX, DX, but this is fine, especially with widescreen. It's great.
Did what's his name work on F-Zero GX from Sega? The guy who does like the Daytona music, you know, the guy who always sings. Like,
oh, did he?
I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but
I don't either right this second. But it wouldn't surprise me if he did. Yeah,
it kind of sounds like his cheesy vocal. Well, I mean, maybe not exactly. It just sounds like something he'd write. You know?
I mean, he did sing the song in Smash, so
the F-Zero song, yeah,
the F-Zero song in Smash. So it eventually comes together anyway.
He did a new song for that Virtua Fighter 5 re-release, and he's still him. He's just out here singing.
Yeah, he
singing
never
his
stopped
songs.
being who that is.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. Can we okay, I get why they started with the heavy hitters on this GameCube app, but like, when are we gonna get weird? Come on, man. Can I get some Odama up in this bitch? Can I have some Ribbit King, please? Can I have some Cubivore at least? Like, come on.
Andre, I want all of that shit too, but I think the next thing on the list is Strikers, because when they were doing that Treehouse thing, their Magic GameCube app had that on it.
What about Mystic Heroes? You remember Mystic Heroes? It was like Dynasty Warriors, but kids.
No, but I want to play it now.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I don't know, man. All right, guys, we're on the home stretch here. Let's just talk about some other Switch 2 games, particularly that we played. We talked about the upgraded stuff. We talked about Mario Kart World, but if there's any other Switch 2 games that we played, I'd love to do it now before we leave, and I'm going to do a couple here real quick, if you don't mind. One of them is Fast Fusion. Because another Nintendo system, another futuristic racing game by Shinen Multimedia. If you guys don't know what this is, there was Fast Racing League for WiiWare, then there was Fast Racing Neo for Wii U, there was Fast RMX for Switch, and now there's Fast Fusion for Switch 2. I guess they just like to continue this lineage on Nintendo systems. And if you played any of those previous games, you know what this is. It's no frills, it's low budget, and a very fun futuristic racer, kind of like Wipeout. Some people might say it's like F-Zero. I think it's much more akin to Wipeout than F-Zero or Extreme G, I would say. But just because it's low budget doesn't mean the graphics are low budget, because Shinen legitimately puts out some of the best graphics in the business, and they have been doing so for over 25 years. You can take this back to like Iridian 3D on Game Boy Advance. Those guys know exactly what they're doing as far as visuals go, and Fast Fusion is no exception. It's running incredible here on Switch 2 at, I think I did like the 1440p 60 frames a second mode, and it is flying, baby, without a hitch. It's so much fun. The sense of speed is fantastic. There isn't a whole lot of variety here, unfortunately, which is why the game is $15, but honestly, they could have charged double that, and it would be worth it. I would still recommend Fast Fusion for $30, but since it's 15, I can't. If you want something that is not Mario Kart to play right now, another racing game that looks super impressive on Switch 2, Fast Fusion is it. It's really good stuff. The other game I played that is a real deal Switch 2 game is Arcade Archives 2. Ridge Racer. So here's the thing. This game cost me $16.99. And as I just said, Fast Fusion costs $14.99, like an actual new game, not a port of Ridge Racer. So it seems a little steep, and I get it. Like, it's the first time Ridge Racer, the real deal arcade game, has ever been ported to home. I understand, but $16.99 is a lot. For anyone's reference, your typical Arcade Archives game is $7.99. So this is double the price here. So I guess I can't really tell you if that's worth it or not to you. It's worth it to me. I'll pay any price for Ridge Racer at home for the first time, but you'll have to decide that for yourself. But here's what I'll do. I'll just detail what is different about an Arcade Archives 2 game real quick. So there's a time attack mode that they added. There is a time trial mode in the arcade game itself that you can play, but the time attack mode is like this very setup, boom, you're in the game, boom, you're racing, boom, you're like uploading your score to the internet or whatever. So it's like very fast loading.
So similar to Arcade Archives 1 releases as Caravan?
No. Caravan is a different thing, and Caravan is still in Arcade Archives 2 here. Caravan is like a timed mode where it's like you have 5 minutes to get a score. This is not timed. You're just doing a time trial where it's like, boop, uploading to the internet real fast.
Yeah. hard-coded that in. Okay.
Yeah, they just hard-coded that in.
Wow.
And there is the other thing about Arcade Archives 2 is that there's a network mode where you can play online against or with the people, depending on whether the game is cooperative or, competitive, of course. Here's the thing. Ridge Racer is a single-player game, which means this game does not have network mode. Which is like the thing, because I feel like a lot of people just buy an Arcade Archives game. It's like, I can't play Bubble Bobble online with my friends. No, it's just literally, here's the arcade game, and that's it. You got to do it local. The infrastructure like that costs money. But now we're costing the money, but Ridge Racer is not a multiplayer game. So
are there other Arcade Archives 2 games announced yet, or is it just Ridge Racer so far?
I do not know the answer to that. However, the fact that they're popping this on Ridge Racer first is obviously a very popular game. I understand where they're doing that. It is funny, though, that they're choosing a single-player game where the network mode doesn't come into play, But there's that while that sucks, there is other features. They do have multiple save slots now, like any kind of other emulator shell, because Arcade Archives did not have that before. You can rewind, you can quick start, as I said. It actually also has VRR. Now, I don't know why you would need VRR for a game like this. It's 30 years old, more than that. It's going to run 60 frames a second without a hitch. So I'm not sure. But there is features here. They are putting more work into it. It's just that kind of what I would consider the main one, playing online, just doesn't come into play here. So again, Ridge Racer at home for the first time. Really good stuff to me. It maybe not be to you out there. Who knows? But to me, this is great. So Fast Fusion and Ridge Racer 2 are the things I've been playing besides the other stuff we had. Have you guys been playing any other real deal Switch 2 games? Let's go, Steve.
Yeah, I mentioned before I downloaded Street Fighter 6, and you don't need me to tell you how great that game is. It's been on other systems for 2 years now, but
tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I got my goofy OC Do Not Steal. That's a big fat guy that vaguely looks like me running around.
Oh, you got to show me. You got to show me your avatar.
I'll take a pic later of my guy running around Metro City just fighting guys and learning from everybody, which makes it goofy as hell because he mimics the style, and that includes Chun-Li, so it's really weird when there's a big fat guy standing there all delicate like. But
any fat avatar doing spinning bird kick is delightful, I would say.
And I've gotten a bunch of online matches in. I'm mostly getting my ass kicked, but that's the way of the warrior, that's how that goes.
How does the Switch 2 version run in World Tour mode?
It's actually been very good for the most part. There's just one weird thing I notice sometimes where when you challenge just passersby, you walk up and you do the thing, and you remember back in Sandland when we would go mining and it would start to load, and then it would be like, oh wait, I didn't have to load shit after all.
Yeah.
It does that very occasionally here. Fight. I'm like, okay. It doesn't even do that. It doesn't even do that all the time, but
okay.
Otherwise, it's nothing weird I'm noticing.
Okay.
It in World Tour. I didn't know that they got ROMs tucked away in the gallery.
Yeah.
Like I'm flipping through the news of all the shit that's happened, and I'm just thinking like, oh, like masterpieces in Smash where you play for a few minutes and then they kick you. No, like the whole ass fucking games. And the NES ones have shitty CRT filters on them. Like, no, I'm obviously not logging in to Street Fighter 6 to play NES games, but on the other hand, this is the legal way I could play Mighty Final Fight and NES Bionic Commando, and they're right fucking there, and they look like that.
Yeah, the CRT filter is on like everything though, because like I was trying to play Legendary Wings the other day, and it's just like, ugh, this is on. So they don't really give you any options like Capcom Arcade Stadium, but you can just kind of play them.
I found a Final Fight arcade machine in the middle of town, like out in the open. Like I don't think it's plugged into anything, but you can play it.
Well, if you go online in the Battle Hub, they also would like daily rotate out like what games you could play. And there I've seen like Bionic Commando and like Pirate Ship Higemaru and Vulgus. So
I mean, it's not that big a deal because I do have both arcade sets, but it's like what a interesting thing to have in here.
Capcom be Capcommon, you know?
Yeah. And hey, I also bought Fantasy Life I because it was on, for whatever reason, VGP had it on sale, and there was an upgrade path for $3. That was one of the level 5 games is back, bitches games, and there's a Switch 2 version, and guys, there's not enough time to play anything, but maybe I'll play it for next episode.
Please do, actually, because I've been hearing the most polarizing things about that game. So please tell me what's happening. I'd be very interested to hear that.
It's known that I have polarizing feelings about that first game, so
yeah,
I'm going in here with clown makeup already.
In general, that's reviewed extremely well, though, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also heard people online say, but see, I want to know if they're just being bitches or if there's actually, something to bitch about. So, I'd be very interested to hear about Fantasy Life I, not because I might want to buy it myself. Kevin, tell me about your adventures in Switch 2 land before we get out of here.
Yeah, I broke down and bought Cyberpunk, and normally I wouldn't buy something like this. I have it on I have the PS4 version from launch, so I can play it on PS5. But I wanted something real, like, graphically pretty to sink my teeth into on my new toy.
You should.
So it was kind of worth it in that respect. You know what? It looks incredible. Honestly, like it's very impressive seeing that just run on something in the form factor of a tablet. Interesting, though, I normally play stuff on performance rather than quality, and I popped it over to performance and I turned it back real fucking quickly. That resolution drop is very noticeable in handheld mode. And to be honest, I'm
sorry, there's actually a mode that runs at 60?
No, I think it will go between 30 and 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It looks so I did it in like a scene where I should try it again. I was in like a moving car, and it's kind of like a cutscene type, like where you can play in the cut, like you can still look around and interact.
Right.
But maybe I should try it just in like regular gameplay, because it looked like very muddy and shitty at that time. So,
okay.
As far as I'm concerned, unless further testing proves otherwise, I'm going to be leaving that on quality.
Yeah, 30 seems the way to go with that. Yeah.
I haven't tried to properly play Cyberpunk since it came out on PS4, which, as everybody knows, it was very broken. It's very much less broken now, so I'm having a mostly much better experience. I ran into a really weird issue, though. So I guess at one point they patched in this like retaliation system. So I did a mission and I didn't do it stealth. So I went in there fucking guns a-blazing. And then after the mission, as soon as I get in a vehicle, immediately it's like, you're in vehicle combat, and I'm getting attacked by that group. But I still don't have a good understanding if it's like I think it's like something is bugged out with the way it's doing that, because the attack is unbelievable. I cannot survive if I get in a vehicle from that point on. And if I get out, this fucking lady comes at me with a sword, and she is like 50 levels above me. Like, I don't have a chance in hell of killing her. She fucking runs right at me and like one-shots me. And I've so I was reading online, like multiple people have been like, I can't fucking play this like this.
Yeah.
So I have just started doing the next few missions without getting in a vehicle, hoping that eventually that retaliation stops, and next time it happens, it's not like super overpowered. So
that sounds crazy.
We'll see.
I wonder if they couldn't have
mean,
meant it to be that way, right?
No, I'm sure they couldn't, because I didn't have like any problem difficulty wise whatsoever up to that point. And then all of a sudden I because I was just like in this one part of town and the mission is on the other side of town. So I kept like, I'm going to try and get in a vehicle, and I would get creamed over and over and over. And I tried different things. I tried like escaping in the vehicle. And then eventually I was just like, I guess I just can't fucking drive right now, which is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
I don't know. I guess we'll see if that's going to kind of like ruin the experience, or maybe it's just a hitch, and in a few missions it'll go away.
Hope so.
I have a question, Kevin. This is one of the few Switch games to get a game card. Did you get this physically?
I got this digitally. I'm pretty convinced I don't want to go into stores anymore.
I'm gonna see.
I just wanted to know how it tasted.
Yeah,
I know. I do want to
it.
know how they taste, but yeah, I have no physical games yet.
I'm getting Bonanza next month. That's going to be it. That's going to have to be it.
There's got to be some fucking game out there that's like kind of cheapish that I can like. Well, here's the thing: we need to see if the game key card tastes different from the actual cartridge.
I'm not buying one until they go on like sale, though.
That's the thing that we need to do. So we'll have to wait until. Look, I don't know when I'm gonna ever get a physical Switch 2 game. So yeah, we'll have to put that off until we have one of each, I think.
And we got to be careful because I don't think we want to get used ones. I just feel like if they've been it's going to change the flavor profile.
Oh no, I'm not licking someone else's card.
Forget the. Yeah, I was going to say Kevin flavor profile. I'm not touching someone else's. No,
that was the joke,
with my
Steven.
with my mouth hole.
With your mouth, with your tongue apparatus. All right, guys, I think that's about it. I feel like we are Switch 2'd out until, well, we turn off these microphones and go play more Switch 2. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for joining us for the second time this week. Check the description of this podcast to find our links to social media, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
We'll catch you next time. This has